we'll get it going.
Cool.
All right, let's get this and this. Hey, everybody, we are getting ready to record a Monday Trip Report show, and this one's for 3 weeks. Now, well, what is today? Anyway, it's for Martin Luther King Day because we're getting ahead for the races. Because over the next couple of weeks, we'll be at Disney World and we'll be at Disneyland. Yes. So, should be fun. Oh, whoa. Marvin Harrison Jr., status unclear for Cotton Bowl. Didn't practice. Doesn't want to play Mama Zoo Tigers. Not that I'm watching ESPN in the studio. It's muted. So no, hopefully everybody had a great Christmas. We're going to be talking ultimate touring plans. If you don't know what that is, I do. And I've met people in lines actually at Walt Disney World that are in the process of going through this and crazy. No, but I can do the dopey challenge barely. And I don't even try this. I don't play with this. There's certain things you just don't touch. So, but Sammy does. So we're going to talk about that today. So is it Sam or Sammy? What do you mean?
Either works. I go by both.
Cool. That's why just don't call me late for dinner. And that's what I said. All right. So let's do this. 2420. All right. My dad will probably call on the phone because
that's how it always works.
Every time I go live. And the thing is, I put my phone on do not disturb, but because he's like a super contact or whatever, like a favorite, he gets through. I'm like, dude, you work in radio. Like, next time you're at a radio studio, I'm going to find you. I'll find my friends. I'm going to blow your phone up. So I'm like, I have the decency to know when you're working, like, when the Rams are playing and it's 4th down, and they're like on the 2, I'm not going to call you in the booth.
You could now.
I should. Well, they're going to make the playoffs, man. That's not good. Oh, come on, Seahawks or somebody. The 49ers, you knock them out, but whatever. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this. Welcome to episode 2420 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you and welcome to MLK Day here in the United States of America. Let's make today an awesome day and do something nice for somebody. Go out there and, how about a random act of kindness today? That'd be a great day to do that. And any day is great for that. But today, hey, let's just make a conscious effort to do that. And all those folks who just got back from Disneyland who took on marathon weekend and decided, let's go to the West Coast and run a few more miles and have eat some corn dogs on Main Street. How awesome was that? But, hopefully today, speaking of dogs, your dogs are probably barking. So just sit down, listen to the show, and let's just chill out for a week before we start training for Princess or whatever we got coming up next. We're going to have a good time, though. And by the end of today's show, your dogs will be virtually barking because we're not talking about a relaxing vacation today. No. That's not what we're doing here on a Monday. We're talking competitive theme park touring, basically. It's going to be a good time. So joining us from out in the wonderful state of Oregon, we have listener Sammy. Sammy, thanks for coming on the show. Happy Monday.
Thanks. Happy Monday. Glad to be here and talk about some of our crazy touring ideas and why we do it.
So we are going to talk about the ultimate touring plan, which we'll get into in just a second. But let me get a little background on you, like we do here on a Monday. Get to know our listeners. How do found the show? Like, what's your background in Disney fandom? Where's it all start for you to see you here on the show today?
So I'm originally from New Jersey. And as I was a kid, my mom worked for a company that had monthly to bi-monthly conferences in Orlando. Wow. So she would kind of scoop me up and take me with her. Some of those were in the area. Some of them were at Disney. So I started going to Disney pretty young. Ended up having family within the Disney company and friends within the Disney company. So kind of grew up on it. And then revisited it later in life. I went to graduate school at University of Florida up in Gainesville. So that was only a 2.5 hour drive away. Became kind of a weekend activity between friends and kept going and going from there.
Wait a second. I didn't know I had a gator on the line. Hang on here. You're in Oregon and you said you're from Jersey. You said nothing about
Yeah.
being a Florida Gator. You just
Yeah, I left out the little bit of Florida in between. I figured it was a spur of the moment information.
yeah, that was smooth there until we started recording to mention that. Okay, we'll make it work. Okay, so we are going to have a good time though. Now, from our before we hit record here, we're kind of talking about your background. You do a lot of cool stuff, and it's very interesting. But you're a Run Disney runner as well, and you're going to just ran out at Disneyland with a bunch of us as well. So we spent 10 minutes talking. You seem like kind of a competitive person. That's my personality too.
You're
Whatever
right.
I do in work, I want to be the best at it. Whether it's, anything I do. Just when I was in, third grade, I had to have the highest grade on the spelling test. Or, if there was we did a program and when I was a teacher, it was called Accelerated Reader. Now, this will probably take some people of a certain age back to a certain time where you like read a book and then you would take a quiz on a computer and get points for reading the book. My class always won the entire school with the Accelerated Reader points because I made them, because I'm competitive. Like, we are going to win this. Like, I play life to win. I always want to win things. And so that's my lifestyle. And I don't know you very well. We've only talked for like 10 minutes. I'm thinking you're competitive. Am I correct on that?
You are. And there's some reasons. I was a competitive fencer for the United States when I was younger and all through college. So I was a D1 athlete, NCAA, all of the above. And so that kind of translates into other parts of life. And yeah, as you mentioned, running came in after I stopped fencing. I kind of needed something to keep that motivation or personal motivation going. So we tried out running, hated it for like 6 to 8 years. Now I'm kind of in the phase where I love it, but it took a long time to get there.
God, story of my life. Speed skating for me. I was a nationally ranked speed skater. And then I needed something after my daughter was born. So I did running, kind of stunk for a little while. And now I'm kind of in the glory days. Now my knees are saying, dude, you're getting old. Just, even your old sports heroes retire. Like it's time to find something a little bit easier on the joints. But yeah, I'm right with you. I can tell though. That's super cool. And if I see you with any pointy objects, I'm going to stay clear of you. I don't want to get jabbed. Okay. Pirates though, you'd be dangerous in the Pirates like store. You know what I'm saying? Like after we get off Pirates, I'm not letting you get around the plastic swords. Anyway, so let's talk though about you contacted me because you've done the Ultimate Touring Plan attempts multiple times. So before we jump into that, for anybody that's kind of new to this whole thing, give us the background on what this is. If people don't know what an Ultimate Touring Plan is, and also what a crazy proposition this is for most.
Yeah, so I didn't find this. A friend of mine that I've done these ultimate tours with found this, but they found it on the Touring Plans website. Mm-hmm. We originally wanted to do what we called a map day, where we did, all the rides on the map. I think that's a common goal for a lot of people going to Disney. So he looked it up online, found this thing called the Ultimate Tour. And essentially there's some rules and restrictions to it, but you have from park opening to park close, and you have to experience, ride, do every ride, most shows and most character meet and greets that occur in that park. So it's not just the rides. You will also have to do stage shows if you're in Magic Kingdom, or O Canada if you're in Epcot, and any sort of character that has a spot. So the princesses in Magic Kingdom have a spot. They're fixed, so they're part of the tour. You have to write down all the times for it, the time you enter the queue, the time you get on the experience, the time you leave the experience. You have to photograph yourself for evidence, and then compile it all together to sort of prove that you've completed it. And then you can go up on the Ultimate Tour Hall of Fame on the Touring Plans website.
Yeah, there's a Hall of Fame on the Touring Plans website. I have it pulled up right here. And, I've seen some names that I know that have attempted this, because you have, how many attractions you did experience, what day, where you're from, so forth. And like I said, I've run into people that are, because a lot of times people that are attempting this, like with, a friend or a significant other, they'll have t-shirts, so you can tell, right? I mean, you can tell they're doing the Ultimate Touring Plan or whatever. And it's just fun. I always get a selfie with them. Like, oh, it's cool. Good luck. You're crazy. But now, again, you did this in the pre-Genie Plus days. So let's just kind of preface this with, this is before Genie Plus, in the Fast Pass Plus days. And I think it'd be fun to kind of compare this eventually with kind of how this would change over time. But tell us about what this was like. Okay, so we go in Magic Kingdom first for a park like that because of the density of the attractions. Like, how do you prepare yourself first of all for something like this? I mean, it's going to be a long, long, long day.
Yeah. So first off, you prepare yourself by you're failing the first one.
Okay.
Like you're just not gonna complete it. There's so much you don't know going into it. My friend and I started it just the two of us. As an idea, we split up roles. We decided who was going to do planning, who was going to be the timer, when we wanted to start, how we wanted to bucket the activities. And the first thing you have to know is what things only happen once.
Right.
So in Magic Kingdom, the flag retreat is a really big example of something that only happens once.
That's a good point. Like once flag's down, what are you going to do? Like they don't take it down once. Yeah, I think about. Also, I think things like Main Street vehicles, right? They're not like an all day thing. They're like a morning thing. And
you got to do them first. So you have to be ready to be on your feet all day. I think even with so we've done 4. We've done 2 Magic Kingdoms, 1 failed, 1 succeeded, Epcot and Animal Kingdom. I think the lowest amount of mileage on our feet was 14.5 miles.
Holy smokes.
So you're going to be moving a lot. You might try to plan it with the map to kind of go in a location, but a show is going to get canceled. You're going to have a spot that goes faster. There was the time of Universe of Energy, which is 18 minutes long.
Yeah.
So you lose a whole chunk for some of these longer attractions.
Power nap. You're seeing it the wrong way. I see that as an opportunity to catch because I can fall asleep in anything like in 2 seconds. That'd totally be a nap.
Yeah. There's definitely some Hall of Presidents nap, all of it, like whatever. Or it'd be when you would eat. So that was the other thing is we had to pack all of our like snacks, lunch into a backpack because you're not having time to stop for like Casey's Corner or anything.
Man. Now see, that's where it hurts the most right there. Like I couldn't have corn dog nuggets on the fly. Come on.
No, your bag's going to be full of Cliff Bars and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Okay, I'm out. This is no fun. Like, come on now. Like you kind of had me thinking, I'm like, no, if I can't. No.
We did have a magical moment in Animal Kingdom. One of the cast members at the Starbucks location saw that we were taking a break because we had to kind of reshuffle because Cali River Rapids is never open.
Right.
And that's the other trick with the tour. If the attraction's down all day, you don't have to complete it. But if it comes up at least once, it now counts. So the River Rapids is, even today, it's always up or always down. And we had a moment where it was up for an hour and then went down and we were trying to figure it out. And the cast member was listening to us, went in and grabbed us like one of those giant cinnamon rolls and just gave it to us as like a treat as we were figuring it out.
It's like somebody on the race course giving you a gel.
Twizzlers.
A bajillion times better than those stupid gels that are just disgusting. But you know, the little Hershey Kiss at mile 22 at the studios for the marathon, basically. It's like great.
Yeah, so if you see another Ultimate Tour, take that selfie, but give them a snack.
I will. That's a good tip. Okay, so back to the Magic Kingdom. So you guys prepared, you got your roles set.
Yeah.
And you said you're going to be, here's the thing I'm wondering too. And this is one of the things that gets me physically more than running. And I don't know if people agree with this or not, but maybe it's just how my body's built. If I'm moving, like I can walk 15 miles in a day and still be pretty in shape. What gets me is standing. Like my back gets so bad if I'm standing for long periods of time. And I'd imagine you spent just a ton of time standing because, you know, you go somewhere and you get in line. You go somewhere. I mean, it's a whole day of being in lines. Was that not the case for you guys?
No, it absolutely is. And you kind of have to pick and be a little bit strategic, especially the lines that you know get really long. So in Magic Kingdom, our plan wasn't even to touch Seven Dwarfs Mine Train until the last. It was going to be the last thing that we did because as soon as you're in the line, you're in the line. The park can close and you're in the line. You're experiencing it no matter what. We knew it was going to get like huge lines. So we were like, we're not even touching that until the end. It's how we're finishing. But you want to get some of the other ones out early too. You want to balance between the mountains and even Jungle Cruise can get really long. Mm-hmm. So you have to like constantly be ready to pivot if a ride goes down or there's a lull in the day, especially the like lunchtime lull. That's the other time to start hitting big rides is when other people are eating. So you are standing a lot. But if you have an idea of how the crowds work, you can kind of manage as much as possible.
Okay, so let's talk. You said you did it twice, one time
Yeah.
unsuccessfully, one time successfully. So, we're not going to go traction by traction. That would take forever. But give us what kind of made the wheels fall off the wagon the first time that you corrected the second time? Like, what were because I think these are tips that people could use for every day in the parks. You're not trying to see everything, but you're trying to see as much as you can with your family, and you could pick and choose the best of the best. These are going to be great tips.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So if you're on it and you're going, you can hit about 4 attractions an hour, give or take, running between stuff and the amount of time you're standing in line to the actual ride itself. What we didn't account for is how to pivot. So stage shows at the Magic Kingdom, we were like, there's 3, we really want to hit this one, we got to hit this first one and then that's it. It rained because it's Florida, and the first show is around like 1 to 3 o'clock, which is that perfect 30 minutes of Florida torrential downpour. So we missed it. And that meant we had to come back and redo it into our schedule. Also, knowing what rides were near each other, even though we've gone so many times, you forget what's right next door. So being ready to just kind of see an opportunity and take it because it's close, you're going to enjoy it, or try to put in a break. So Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, great break. Yeah. It's fun. You're sitting, you're having a good time. It generally never has a long line. So when you're like, what should I do right now to fill the time? Knowing which ones are the quick pivots really helped us in the second time.
I'd imagine keep it something like, that's a great point. So if you're trying to do this, going with an attempt like a Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor would be something almost like keep like a joker in your pocket, right? Like, okay, I'm not going to play that one yet. Like, like you could be tempted when you're walking through like at 9:30 in the morning, going through Tomorrowland and not seeing a line there, but that might be a fool's errand right there, going in and burning it early, because that could be something you do at 3 o'clock, right? When you need something, you need a break, like you said, that. Because you're right, that just tends to never have a crowd, and it has so many positives for something you're going for. Like it's a great point. I wonder. So I guess Carousel Progress would kind of be in that same category.
Same kind of category, but we definitely tiered everything, like you mentioned. Like you have things that you have to hit because of timing, crowds, anything like that. So in Epcot, knowing that World Showcase opens right at like 11, there's shows that start right then, and so us getting shows out of the way for Epcot was really important because you're looking at 15 to 20 minutes per attraction. And so we're going when there's no one there. We can just grab the shows, get those out of the way. There's no one in World Showcase. It's beautiful. It's like great. You're kind of rushing around with no one around you. But you kind of make your plan based off of your tiers. So, we knew we wanted to hit Space Mountain first when we're in Magic Kingdom, and then just kind of bounce around Tomorrowland because it's so dense. So you can get a lot right away. For Animal Kingdom, you want to be kind of hitting that first safari ride, which is difficult because it opens an hour or 2 after the park usually. So it doesn't always open when the park opens. So you kind of have to put yourself close, but not too far of a walk or too much that you're on a long attraction beforehand. So we tiered everything. And so we knew between like 10 and 12, you have to hit this 11:30 show. And then there's flexibility in the middle. You're aiming again for that 3 to 4 per hour.
So did you guys use something like the Everest, like single rider to bust through the lines quicker?
So we can't use single rider because you have to take the photo of your whole group experiencing it. So we couldn't use single rider. Takes that tip away, which is a bummer because the single rider for Everest, you tend to ride with your party.
I know, seriously, because I mean, like
most of the time
back in the day, like I've ridden it during the marathon a couple times, and like you jump in single rider, and you end up riding with who you're running with a lot of times.
Yeah,
yeah.
Even normally, you'll usually just be like one in each other in the car, and you're almost always with them. Same with Test Track. You end up with your party a lot in Test Track too for single rider.
I mean, you're rolling the dice, right? I mean, because you can't complain if you're not. Like you have no recourse. You got in that line. They told you, but you could. Okay, so let's kind of wrap up Magic Kingdom. Let's talk Epcot. Let's talk the Animal Kingdom specifically, but Magic Kingdom. So you said you started with Space Mountain.
Yes.
And that makes me feel good because that's where I always go first.
Both times we started with Space Mountain.
I'm not a great, I'm a travel agent, but I'm not the world's greatest, like, I'm theme park tour. Like, I just go, that's my favorite ride. That's why I go there. I love Space Mountain, even though it doesn't love me back anymore. It kills me. You're also running a risk there because I think it'll just torture you back. But I like the way you guys roll. Get it out of the way. So was there anything that surprised you as far as, back in the day you had Splash Mountain that's going to be rethemed here and reopening at the end of this year. Anything that threw an unexpected kink into the plan besides the rain or stage shows or anything that was like Peter Pan? Like, how did you work that in if you weren't doing that early?
So Peter Pan was always a fast pass. Both times we were like, this one, you kind of like put, what can I do when no one's there and we're doing early park? What can I do at the end of the day when people leave? And what things need to be.
Yeah, because that would just the line never dies.
Never dies.
You're never going to hit it at a good time.
Yeah, we picked Peter Pan. Jungle Cruise was one that we said always a fast pass.
Yep.
Just because that line can go quite slow.
Mm-hmm.
We did Pirates as a fast pass because, again, you can't see the line. So it could be 20 minutes and actually 20 minutes or 20 minutes and 2 minutes.
That's true.
So,
yeah, see, I might not do fast pass on that one, though, back in the day when it had it, because sometimes you can get on that one quick. That's one I might gamble, right? I'm trying to think of where, if you're doing Space Mountain early in the morning, Big Thunder tends to, you get through that one pretty quick, too. I might have put it on Splash, like over Pirates, but it just depends. I like the way you guys, you're right, though. It's kind of unexpected. You got to trust.
It's where you can't see the full queue.
Let me ask you this. Okay. So obviously you were not trusting the posted wait times.
No, we use it just for sort of guidance of where people were, but we were either going by density of where we were in that moment, or if we could track it and see sort of where the ebbs and flows, where we would go to that area next.
Super interesting. Okay. So the successful day where you got it at the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
What was it like? Like, at what point of the day did you say, it looks like we're going to do this? Because you're an athlete, right? At some point during a competition, during an event, like, I've got this, right? It's going to happen. During the marathons at Walt Disney World, when I get back to like Boardwalk, I'm like, they can drag my carcass across the line at this point. Like, I'm going to make it, like before that, I don't know, even the studios, it's still a 50-50 proposition. But if I make it to the Boardwalk, I'm probably going to finish. So when was it like you started to get that feeling like, okay, the gods are with us today. It looks like we're going to make it, because I can't imagine making this happen. So when did you guys figure it out, and how'd that feel?
Yeah. So we missed it the first time by 6 rides. So we knew when and where we messed up. It's going to be in Kanto now, but where you meet Merida at the time, that was one that we messed up at first. We didn't know that it opened early. The Main Street vehicles, like you mentioned, we didn't know they were just in the morning. So we ran back and got the last one. The flag retreat is kind of a key point in the day. You don't feel good until you hit the flag retreat, because that's 5 o'clock. It's no other time. You either get it or you don't. And it's fast. It's a really great experience.
Awesome.
If you've never done it, it's actually really, really cool that happens every day at Disney. So that was new. It was like a new thing for us. And then I think the time that we figured out we got it was a little bit after the flag retreat. I can't remember if it was before then or after then, but we got on the Liberty Bell boat, the river boat. And that's the time where you're kind of just sitting. It's a longish ride. You get to see the park. And I was the planner, so I had all the papers. I'm going through the papers and marking it off, and I realized that we're good. We had everything lined up. We were at that sweet spot. We only needed about 3 an hour, and that's when you know that you have enough time.
So kind of I'm very superstitious though, right? I'd have been like, okay, it looks like everything's going to work out, but then oh my God, what if a hurricane pops up? There's not a cloud in the sky, but it could happen. I'm just one of those superstitious people. Like, the worst could happen. But that sounds good. The Liberty Bell though is another one you got to think about, because it closes early, way before the park closes.
Because these are the ones in my mind that I'm like, oh, these things have specific times to them. Right. You need to know them. So the riverboat was one of them. Tom Sawyer Island is one of them.
Rafts.
So getting that area done was kind of the like late afternoon time. So when you hit that, you kind of have this reset to see like, okay, this is all I've done. This is all I have left, and it's manageable. So that was kind of the spot. I very distinctly remember being on that boat, and like it was 4 of us for that one. Every time we've done an ultimate tour, we've added another person. We had 2 the first time, then 3, 4, and our final one was 5. So it was 4 of us the second time we attempted it, and we're sitting there, and I have the paper, and I was like, we've got this. This is easy. Like, we've done it.
Oh, see, don't say that out loud. See, that'd be me. If I was in that group, I'd be like, even if we do, just don't say it. Like, don't say it out loud. That's awesome. So when you guys finally finished the magic, any kind of celebration there? I mean, of course, you probably took an awesome picture somewhere in the park, or were you just like, did you collapse? I mean, how'd it go?
Well, we have a picture that's hanging up in all of our homes. We are one of those people that wore shirts.
Yeah, too.
So we made the shirts. We were each one of the parks. So I was Animal Kingdom. Each one of us, and we made them in like a jersey style. So the back had the jersey number, and the number is the year the park opened.
I love it.
So we have this great picture at night in front of the castle with the kind of pink and blue lighting at the time. And all of us have our hands up, and our backs are facing the camera. And it's just this like celebration photo. We all have it framed at this point because it's just like such a good memory and a core one where we just like knew we did it.
That is epic. I love that you guys got jerseys too. That's cool. See, I love doing the show because it's just ideas for folks, right? I mean, do this. Like, this is so fun.
Okay. Well, because we have to take pictures too all the time. We got, oh man, I don't know if it's called the same thing, but what's now Memory Maker, whatever worked for the photo system at the time, we had that. So we took advantage of it to the full point, because it could be the photo that we used for the actual event. Because, if we're with a character, we don't need to take a photo. They're taking one. And then we have these memories that we just get to keep in a nice photography way, better than our like long-armed selfie photos that we would take on, a ride. So when you're done, you just go to every PhotoPass person because you're so stoked, and you're like, take 100 photos of me.
Oh yeah. Dude, just go to a Run Disney weekend, folks. If you've ever seen this, watch. Matt's got a medal. Like, every time I see a PhotoPass photographer, hey, right here, take my picture. And I'm guilty of it too. We all are. Yeah. That's why we pay all this money for the fake medals, so we can get our pictures of them. No, it's awesome. I love this. Now let's talk Epcot and Animal Kingdom. Let's jump into Epcot. So what did you learn at Epcot that was maybe different than the Magic Kingdom? Because you kind of mentioned some of it with like, you have the park opens in 2 phases. Like you said, with World Showcase opening at 11, you probably jumped into maybe one of the, maybe like Reflections of China or O Canada, initially. But again, those things I would think are kind of like Monsters Inc., right? You can just roll in anytime, even though they show every 10 or 15 minutes, like O Canada. I don't know. So what did you learn? And also, I think World Showcase, like, what's the rules there? Do you have to kind of see like a band or something, or how's that work?
Yeah. So number one thing I learned, that Epcot is the hardest one, because it is so far apart for every single attraction and item. And it's one of the things that's great when you're visiting Epcot on a regular vacation, is that you feel like you're immersed in that space and the rest of the park really doesn't exist. On an ultimate tour, it does not help when you're in China and you need to go back to the land.
Well, yeah, and that's here's what I say too, and people don't, I think, factor this in. Now they have those after hours events that are for deluxe guests, like those extra evening hours that are for deluxe guests. And when they have those at Epcot, you get 2 extra hours, right? And I tell folks, like, they're awesome, don't get me wrong, but when they're at Epcot, you're not going to get a lot done, because say you want to do Frozen, like you said, say you want to do Frozen, and you want to do Spaceship Earth, and you want to do Ratatouille, like by the time you triangulate that, like that's an hour, like, as you're walking for like 10 minutes from one, 20 minutes to the other, and then 10, you've walked 40 minutes. Like, and that's not even the attractions. You're exactly right. It's wonderful, but Epcot's really spread out. That's a good point, because of Lagoon and stuff.
Yeah. So they're really far apart. It's really hard to complete it. And we did it on Mother's Day, which had its own fun thing. So the touring plan site, if it's during a festival, has extra bonuses that you can do for the festival. So kind of like the booths or some of the interactive things. It was Flower and Garden at the time. So we did some extra bonuses there. But Epcot is just so big. I think our mileage was close to 20 when we did it. And we were down to the last seconds. You asked when we knew that we got it for Magic Kingdom. We did not know until we had Impressions of France and Illuminations. That's all we had left. And if we did not finish Impressions of France before Illuminations started, we lost.
Yeah. You saved the two best for last, by the way. I just got
yeah. So we did not know until we were in that final show that we did it. So there was no relief at all when you're in Epcot because you can't do anything in a density space. And then you have the shows. And even though they're every 10 to 15 minutes, they are also 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can't, like, on a wait time app, you can say, oh, it's 5 minutes. There's no wait time app for Canada. Yeah. It's continuous. Or the China show, it's continuous. So you kind of have to go and check and see, okay, I have 15 minutes to the next one, but I could go to Mexico and do the boat ride in that 15 minutes. So
which is important, right? Because you don't want to waste time, but again, that adds up the mileage. So that's where it becomes that's what I kind of like about this idea to do it, because I think it tests not only your physical stamina, but it's more than even your physical stamina, which it's kind of it's like a slow marathon in a way, but it's also like an organizational, it's totally just like it's a on the fly organizational challenge at a different level, because everything is so fluid all the time, because a storm could blow through and it just blows up when you just made the plans 2 hours ago. I think it's really a challenge for folks that want to solve. It's almost like a big math problem that's constantly evolving with all these physical variables at the same time.
It is. I'm pretty sure I can close my eyes and draw the map of these 3 parks with no problem, to 100% accuracy, because I know where everything is now. But you asked what the World Showcase stuff that we had to do was, and I wanted to just kind of hit on that. It's a little bit different because they're not all rides, and they're not all shows. So for certain ones, so for Germany, for example, we had to go into their shop where they have the ornaments and take a picture with the pickle ornament. I'm pretty sure that was the Germany one. So depending on the pavilion, you would interact with it in a certain way. In Japan, we had to do a couple parts of their museums that they have. So that was also really cool because you get to see parts that you don't necessarily notice just walking by. And then I always recommend this to people if it's ever there. They had it during this time, and now they kind of do it as some of like the scavenger hunts. But whenever they have a World Showcase scavenger hunt, at the time, it was the Phineas and Ferb phone one. Yep. Always do them. They're so much fun. And especially if they ever go back to like what they did with the Kim Possible or Phineas and Ferb phone ones, there's stuff in the pavilion that interact with you that you would never know. You would never know.
It was DuckTales after that for a while, and it's still there. They're doing it now because I see the little things pop up every once in a while when somebody's doing it. You do it on your own device now.
It's kind of like the Play Disney app, probably.
It's Play Disney app. Because I see people doing it occasionally. You don't see it very often, but you see it occasionally if you know what you're looking for. But especially I see it a lot in Norway and France.
I would say the number one tip that we did find out for Epcot is do Mission Space first.
See, I don't thought that one never has a line, so I think that'd be one to bank.
Well, considering you're not stopping for food, you have your own food, and if you are motion sickness in any way, you got to get that done early. You got to like get that out of your system and be ready to like reset. So we did test track first, then Mission Space, and we were like, cool, all the motions done. We can kind of just focus from there of just feeling okay.
Well, so nowadays, could you do the green side rather than the orange side, or do you have to do
green? We did green.
Well, see, but nowadays the green side has changed. The green side is super mild. Like it's almost like soaring. Like
you're almost just standing there now. Yeah.
It's not the same. Like,
yeah. At the time you were still in a vehicle, it was still kind of that Gravitron one, even for green.
But the orange, I mean, that thing. I've done it a couple times and it takes me to the brink. I mean, because I work in space camps. I feel like I have to, right? It's like you're not really a space camp educator unless you take on the orange. But I'm like, I'm also got to get. I can't do flight of passage either, man. What am I thinking? I'm just like, the whole time it's like that. They used to put the monkeys in the centrifuge too, and I'm just like, they show the video of that monkey. I'm knowing that if there's a camera on me, that's exactly what I look like in that thing. I'm just like the whole time. It's not pretty.
I tell people the same thing today. If you're unsure, Mission Space Guardians, do them first.
That's a good point.
Because you don't want to do them later in your day where you could be hungry or you don't know how it's going to impact you. I think it's actually really smart for people to, if they don't know, experience it right away. Know if you love it. Know if you hate it.
I should have listened to you because when I went down to the media event before it opened, like we got a preview of it. And so I was waiting for them to call my time. All right. So they had us all there and we knew we could ride it for like a 6-hour window as much as we wanted, but they were going to text us when our window opened up. And I'm sitting there. I got into the park like at 9 a.m. I was all excited. And then I'm like, so it was 11 o'clock and World Showcase open. They still hadn't called me. So I'm like, shoot, I'm going back to Mexico. I'm getting a margarita and some empanadas. So as soon as I downed that margarita, those empanadas, sure enough, got the text to go ride it. Oh, terrible idea. So bad.
You don't know if you're gonna. So my mom loves Guardians. My parents live outside of Orlando now, and she rides it. I don't know, probably 4 to 5 times a week. She loves that ride. We'll go to Epcot just to ride that ride. It's not for me.
Yeah. It's a great, I understand why everybody loves it because I've been on it twice. I rode it with my girls last summer too. Just because like maybe it was nope. It's like 2 seconds in. I was like, nope, still terrible. Nope. Don't like it. Yeah. But I see why everybody loves it because it's super smooth and there's all kinds of crazy thing. It's amazing, but it's just not everything's for everybody. So I know, you know what? The way I see it, I'm so glad because it keeps so much like trouble out of my life. I don't have to try to get a lightning lane for it. I don't have to do all that. Dude, saves me money. Like, okay, good. It saves me trouble and money. If I can't ride it, more power to me. God help me out on that one. Okay, real quick. Animal Kingdom, though.
Yeah.
That's a huge park. I mean, that's bigger than Epcot. And here's another thing that maybe people don't consider. Animal Kingdom tears up my feet worse than any other parks because of the uneven pavement. Like I've run races through there and marathon goes through there. And if you're not careful when you got tired legs, like you can stumble. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm an old drunk, like 90-year-old, but I'm not kidding. When you have wobbly legs and you day 8 of your vacation, it can bite you. And so did you run into any of that? And what'd you learn over at Animal Kingdom?
So Animal Kingdom is the easiest. So if you're listening and you're like, hey, I want to try something crazy like this, I highly recommend starting with Animal Kingdom. The vibes that you get in Animal Kingdom of the calm and the different countries, and you kind of can just go with the flow. It works for an ultimate tour. The stuff is very spread out. So if you do it, you do want to commit per area. Epcot, we did not realize how far it was, but you sometimes couldn't just commit per area. Animal Kingdom, the rides are longer, the experiences are longer, so you kind of have to commit. So if I'm doing safaris, I'm also doing Festival of the Lion King. I'm not coming back for 2 things that are going to take an hour total.
That's a good point.
So you commit, you kind of let the experience go as it's going to because they're long. So you're either on it or you're not. There's not much you can do in the middle to like get yourself too nervous. So it actually keeps you pretty calm. And it is big. The ground does change depending on what country or area you're in. But it was a lot more manageable. We both Magic Kingdom and Epcot, we ended at park ending / a little bit over if you're in the lines. We finished Animal Kingdom by about 4 or 5 p.m.
Wow. I mean,
and maybe it's because we were good at it at that point, but that was our 3rd or 4th.
I mean, it doesn't have as many attractions either, but it has longer things. I mean, if you think of like Festival of Lion King, that's a long show. I don't know if Finding Nemo, that's a super long show. I mean, that's
Finding
like
Nemo was
almost
there.
a 40-minute show.
Yeah, I believe it was Finding Nemo, not Tarzan at the time. I think it was Finding Nemo by then.
Yeah, that's a super long show. And I mean,
They're
like,
all long, so
hard.
you just gotta commit.
Yeah.
And you kind of allow yourself to be in the experience a lot more in Animal Kingdom, which is really enjoyable. In the other ones, my brain, at least, since I was the one that picked what we were doing next, was going and going and going and going and going. In Animal Kingdom, you're like, okay, I've got 20 minutes to watch Festival of the Lion King. This is a great show. I can just watch it. I don't have to think about anything until the last like 5 minutes.
Till the warthog comes out. Then we got to start it again.
Animal Kingdom was good to like challenge too, because there's a lot of bonus things you can do. There's characters that go around. I mean, Divine is on the touring plan as part of the Ultimate Tour. So that's a tricky one, because I think now on the app you get sometimes for her, but before you didn't. She was a roaming character, but she was consistent. So you kind of had to ask around and be like, when is she coming out? Because you have to go all the way back to the front of the park.
She's also kind of like she can find too. Like she's like a hide and seek.
Yeah.
She's there.
But I think actually Animal Kingdom, maybe because it's the newest, it actually has the most logic walking path to it. So that made it a lot easier as well. The flow of Animal Kingdom's really nice. So it really was easy to go from thing to thing. You get like a hint of how they plan the parks by doing it. And you're like, wow, this park is really well laid out.
That's because you saw it from a different way. Like you saw it from a logistics. Like it's almost, I mean, like if you listen to Len on podcast, right? He has a background. I think he wrote his master's thesis when he started doing the touring plans for folks that could subscribe to it. It was, he always explained them back in the day as like a kind of like a UPS driver delivering packages, and that's what he based touring plans on, because you are like the delivery guy, and you're delivering yourself to attractions in the most efficient way possible. And so you're right. I mean, you're just logistically going around the park, making the least amount of, being the most efficient delivery person to deliver yourself to the attractions quick.
Yeah, and the park's just set up that way. The shows also have more options than a lot of the other parks. So a lot of the parks, some of the rarer shows would only have 3 times. At Animal Kingdom, you have about 6 or 7 times to see a show. So that's one, it's like, I tell people they always should see the shows in Animal Kingdom. I think they're wonderful.
Oh man, yeah.
But there's so many opportunities. So just pick one, go, and it'll fit into your day a lot easier. The other parks, you kind of have to like commit or find a good time. Animal Kingdom, you can just be like, I want to see the birds show. Cool. There's one every like 10 minutes after the hour.
So let me ask you this, because we're getting ready to wrap here. And this is super interesting though, because it's certain kind of people will want to try this, right? And I think it's folks like us that are kind of competitive and just like to see what you got. And this is probably something I would think if you're down for a week. This is the way I see it, right? You wouldn't do this every day of your vacation, but you might want to do this on day 3, out of a week, just to say, you and a buddy, like I could see Scott and I trying this just for one day to be dumb and see what we could do, and probably wouldn't do it. But man, you would make some memories, because a lot of times you make memories in the mistakes. Like the stupid choices is stuff you'll be talking about 7 years later, because like, God, could you believe that we totally like boneheaded that move? Like we totally forgot that, this happened. Like, we've been going there for a decade and we totally forgot. I think that's as much fun as the success is just the attempt and just the antidotes sort of come out of the day. But what would you tell people that are maybe thinking about trying? Because I think you've sold me on the idea that I think GD Plus would make this a lot easier now that I think about, even with Fast Pass, because I think GD Plus would give a lot more flexibility. But talk to folks that might want to think about doing this here in 24 as the new year starts.
So I did this has been 7+ years now. I can remember these days as if they were a week ago. So you're going to make memories. You're going to remember it. There's going to be something you haven't done. I guess now it's hard for me to say there's things I haven't done, but you're going to do something you didn't know was there. You're going to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And it's funny. Like you're going to hit, it's very similar to running when you hit that like runner's wall and your brain gets kind of wonky and you say a lot of silly things. You're going to get that doing this. It does feel amazing when you accomplish it. You really feel like I've done this like really crazy big thing. and this person did it with me, or these two people did it with me. And we talk about it still. Like the friends that I did it with are the friends that I do run Disney with. So kind of fits in the mold.
Yeah, totally.
So we talk about it still. We still laugh about some of the things. This ruined Universe of Energy for me completely because we kept going in and it kept breaking down. So we were delusional. We were so over that ride, and it's so long, and you're in the like Jeopardy scene, and we were just like, this is like stupid Judy all day.
Stupid Judy,
all day.
stupid energy.
And so today, when we're in the park and something wrong goes, we're just like stupid Judy.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
So it really is a core memory for me. And it is for my friends as well. And we've been saving Hollywood Studios because at the time it was under construction with Star Wars, and I think even a little bit of Toy Story was under construction at the time. But we got to wait. I mentioned a little bit before, but we got kids. So we got to wait to the right time with the kids so that they can, they're not going to do it with us. We cannot do this with a small child.
That's like I don't know what the super ultimate, you got to add like an ultimate plan on. If you bring kids, you are crazy. I mean, because
if you did it with a stroller, I will pay your meals. If you did it with a stroller, it'd be crazy.
No.
We see some people on the sites that have done it with their teenage children, though. So if you have a kid,
okay, I have a teenager. That's even worse than a kid because teenagers get moody within 5 minutes. Could you imagine being with a moody teenager for all day trying to do this? Because
I don't know. I've always wanted to email the person who. So you get points based off of the attractions and bonus. The person who's been in first has been in first for a really long time. And it was a parent and teenager duo, and they looked like they had the time of their life.
Okay, it takes the right kind of teenager, I should say.
Yeah. So
my 15-year-old diva daughter, who's actually 16 by the time the show comes out, I can't believe I'm saying that. Yeah, this would not see. There's again personality. There's a certain personality that is meant.
It's a personality thing.
Some people should never. I'm just saying this. There's a disclaimer on today's show. Some people should never ever touch this because this would just ruin your vacation. I mean, probably 90% of the people listen to the show. You should never, and I'm not trying to be mean, but you should never do this because you got to be super competitive and super like willing to like push through that wall and just like, this is not for everybody. And my daughter is exhibit A of somebody who she would not make it to the end of Main Street trying to do this. Like
you're gonna fight.
Make it to 905.
You're gonna fight with the people you do it with at least 2 to 3 times minimum. You're gonna have a blow up fight. You're gonna yell about either missing something, not knowing what to do next, disagreeing, wanting to quit, being tired, just being hungry. So you're gonna fight and pick people that you are okay with that happening, and just know you're gonna brush it off and laugh about it in a bit. Because it's definitely challenging for sure.
You know what though? Because that reminds me, real quick story. Because when I did one time, I did the Dopey Challenge with my oldest daughter Paige and Scott. We did it all together, all 4 races, ran them all together. And on the end of the marathon, I think we were at like mile 22. We were going down World, and Scott, I didn't know this. I swear I didn't know this at the time, but he had like a shin, not a shin split. He had a like a broken bone in his shin. Like he got
like a stress fracture.
Stress fracture. That's what it was. But we didn't know this right at the time. And Paige was complaining like she was wore out. And I'm thinking, and I was like screaming about, not screaming, but I'm like, come on, man, we're at mile 22. We've done all these miles. Quit the complaining. Like, Paige, knock it off. Like, the balloon ladies are going to come get us. And Scott, I kept telling Scott, every time we go past the medical tent, just slather some biofreeze on that thing, and we are going to finish this sucker. And let's go. Like, let's buckle up. I'm just trying to be like, like the quarterback or like the coach, like, enough with the complaining, man. We're almost there, 4 miles. And, the dude's got he's got the stress fracture. Because the next day he sends me a picture, like a text. And what it is, it's all of his dopey medals hanging on his boot because he'd been to the ER, like with the walking boot. I'm like, what's that? He's like, dude, I had a stress fracture the whole time. And then I felt terrible because here I am like barking him in, from World Drive all the way into the parking lot. And Paige, I mean, we started talking again 6 months later. No, no, just kidding. We had a great time. But it is one of those things, like, it's a funny story now. But exactly, it tests your mettle. You know what I'm saying? But that's what sports do, really, and things like this.
Yeah, those people become family to you because, like, it's a raw side of you, and if you can get through it, these friends are family to me. These are people that I would call up any day for anything. They would come help me at a drop of the dime and vice versa. And even in, like, the accomplishment sense, like, as I mentioned, I was a D1 athlete. I competed for the United States. I've traveled and competed and such. And I would say these ultimate tours are, like, up there on my accomplishment lists.
That's
Like,
crazy. That's awesome.
they definitely go up there with some of those other things that you'd think, like, wow, like, those are big things. I would be like, yeah. And then this ultimate tour where I did every single thing that you could do in Walt Disney World, and people are like, why? Why would you do that?
Always got to have that next taste of competition. Love it. Even if it's checkers. Doesn't matter. Got to beat you. It's fun. Well, Sammy, hey, this has been so much fun talking about this. And I think, even for the person who's not into the ultimate touring plan, great tips just to get the most out of a day at the Magic Kingdom, because and I've said this many times on the podcast, even a regular day at the Magic Kingdom, Walt Disney World Vacation it's just a series of mini competitions, because everybody's competing for ADRs. Everybody's competing for shorter wait times, because nobody wants to wait 90 minutes. You want to get there and be the person who waits 10 minutes. You want to be the family who gets the shorter wait times. And, if you think about it, you're constantly in competition with other people, not mean competition, but you just want to have advantages throughout your vacation. And this is kind of taking it to the next level, but we can use these lessons to have great vacations. So it's great to talk to you. This has been a ton of fun for me, because this is right up my alley. Not doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
Disney kills me enough, but it's been fun to live it through your experiences.
You could do Animal Kingdom. I promise. You could do it.
I don't know. So that's Scott's favorite park. He'd really enjoy that. So I hope you had a great run out at Disneyland. Hope we caught up out there, and Happy New Year. Hope 24 is great for you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Don't forget our show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out today. We'd love to help you plan that trip here in the new year over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You can support us starting at just $5 a month over on Patreon, and you'll get the bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. Coming over patreon.com/beourguestpodcasts. Give me a follow on social media. I'm at beourguestmike. All the pictures are there, especially on Instagram right now, from Disneyland race weekend, just this past weekend, and marathon weekend from a couple of weekends ago. So if you want to see a lot of great coverage, check it out. It's all there, reels and all the still pictures, all that fun stuff. We will have a live call-in show this coming Sunday. It's been a minute. It's been 4 weeks. So if you want to give us a call and be on the show this Sunday night, Scott joins me. We have a great time. So join us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Give us a call, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We'll see you there and have the phone lines open for you. All right, time to jump out of here and let you get on with your Monday. We'll be back again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. You have a question, send it real quick. Mike at beourguestpodcast.com. All right, time to get out of here. Have a great Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. That was fun, man.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try Animal Kingdom someday, because again, I'm super competitive. So now that I've heard it, I'm like,
we finished at like 4 p.m. and we were like, how do we have 3 hours left in the park?
But see, the thing is, I'm not a big Animal Kingdom park guy, but I guess I could do it once.
I think these have always changed my mind about the park, because I've always learned something different or seen it from a different perspective. So I think I've changed my mind on parks completely.
I don't like Flight of Passage though, but I could do it once, I guess.
You got to do it first then. You got to like get the things done that you don't like done.
I mean, I've done it a few times. It makes me queasy, but I mean, it doesn't like make me puke. It just makes me feel off.
Yeah. Have you done the seat? You can do it like where you're in the seat instead of the.
I should. I know. I'm
too
proud, but I probably should. Like, can I have the little seat? But yeah, I should. I might. Well, hey, if you see me out at Disneyland, just look for me and love to say, hey, get a picture, have fun.
Yeah. I'll throw a thing for the Hong Kong Disney trip as like whenever you want to throw that on the schedule.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if we could. That'd be great. So
I ended up there the day that the Frozen land opened.
Oh my God, yeah.
So like those parks, when you go overseas, it's like that's the park. You don't experience any other park. It can change, but never in your mind. I feel like I got lucky.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. This was just going to go too long. I didn't want to go.
Sure.
Plus, it was like I want to keep it focused because that's pretty.
Yeah. But I can
we'll
fill out the form again so it doesn't like slip off the planning.
Just shoot me an email after we get back from the race, and then we'll set something up. That way it's not too far. All right. Well, hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right. Now see you out in California.
Yeah. Have a good time.
All right. See you later. Thanks, Sammy. Nice talking to you.
You too. Bye.